Just ease on down. He's on down the road. Yo, right now, I am so confused. I have absolutely no idea what I want to do. But I need you guys' help with this, all right? Let's. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your boy, Brandon. And guess what? Listen, there is a big debate going on about two of the most versatile lenses that are on the market today. All right, I'm talking about the new Sigma 28 to 105 millimeter f2.8. Okay, and of course, one of the most amazing lenses that just blew up when it hit the market, the Tamron 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8. Now, why are these two lenses getting so much attention right now? Well, it's because of the versatility. Listen, these are two new modern day lenses. All right, I'm not going to talk to you guys about which one's sharper and heavy and just a bunch of stuff that I see. Listen, I am simply talking to you guys today about which one do you need, which one should you get. Do you need either one? And this is the problem that I'm having with this. And this, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you which one I'm probably going to go with. All right, I am going to shed another area of light on this that I don't think a lot of people are hinting on, because I don't think a lot of people really use these in weddings and events, and a lot of people are going out there like that. So I'm going to give you my 2 cents about what I feel is being missed when it comes to these two lenses. Let's first talk about the 28 to 105 millimeter f2.8 from Sigma. All right, this is an amazing lens. All right, you get a really wide angle, you get a nice wide angle at 28 millimeters, then you get a very versatile zoom all the way up to 105 millimeters. Now, how do I see this lens? This is a very, very good lens for studio work. All right, I think it's great for studio work. It might even be good for some events, depending on the size of the event. If it's not a really big event, if you don't have to get that much closer than 105. But I really do think that this lens really hits the key in a lot of the areas for a lot of photographers out there. The Tamron 35 millimeter to 152.8 is absolutely insane. You can still get nice and wide at 35 millimeters, but you can get all the way and punch in all the way up to 150 millimeters. F2 on the low end, all the way up, I think, into about 38 millimeters, and then it turns over to 2.5 and then 2.8. If you don't remember, I did a photo shoot with the Tamron 35 to 150. And it was absolutely incredible, nice and sharp. I mean, it's probably one of the sharpest zoom lenses on the market today. Here is my problem, and I'm going to try to help you guys making this decision, because I just don't think that this portion of it is being put out there. So let me tell you, let me break it down on why I had to make this decision. The one thing that makes the decision hard is this right here. This is what makes this decision hard. Okay, this is the 70 to 200 2.8 G Master Mark II. All right, now out of all of the videos that I've seen about the 28 to 105 and the 35 to 150, nobody has mentioned the 70 to 200. Well, Brandon, why is that, and why is the 70 to 200 important? Well, this is why it's important. Now, if you just got a bunch of money, this might not be important to you, but I'm going to give you another area of why this lens affects this decision. This lens is absolutely insane. It's definitely probably the best 70 to 200 that I have used. As you guys know, Sigma came out also with a 70 to 200. But this is the problem with this lens. I'm going to break this down one by one so you guys can see the comparison. All right, so let's first talk about the 28 to 105 2.8. The idea is to try to figure out what exactly these lenses can give me that my 70 to 200 can't give me, and what can my 70 to 200, what does it have that the other ones don't have. So that's how I looked at it, and that's how I kind of made this decision. All right, so the problem with this is, let's first take the 28 to 105 Sigma. Most photographers, especially if you are an event photographer, a wedding photographer, a professional photographer, in 2024, most of us already have a 70 to 200. All right. Why is that important? If you look at the 28 to 105, what can it give me that I cannot get with my 70 to 200? Well, on the low end, from 28 millimeters all the way up into 70 millimeters, that's what it gives me, because after 70 millimeters, I already have everything that the 28 to 105 can give me in probably a even more sharper lens. So what is the 28 to 105 giving me that my 70 to 200 cannot? Well, if you add it up from 28 to is 30, and then 40 more is 70, that's a total of 42 millimeters extra on the low end. And then after the 28 to 105 hits 70 millimeters, it then goes into my 70 to 200 by 35 millimeters. But it gives me 42 millimeters on the low end that my 70 to 200 can't give me. So why would I get the 28 to 105 if I've already have the 70 to 200? I'm only gaining 42 millimeters basically, all right? Which means that for a lot of wedding photographers and event photographers, you're still gonna have to carry 2 lenses, right? But what is the trade-off? Well, this is great for like a studio lens if you're using something in the studio. But like I said, the problem with that is that you're only gaining those 42 millimeters on that low end on the 28 to 105. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it, or should we honestly just stay with the 24 to 70 and then 70 to 200? The problem with the 24 to 70 is it's not a one-stop lens. Now, there's a lot of people that's also going to say, well, you can just use clear image zoom, or you can use APS-C mode and punch in, and like, no, we're not looking at all of that. Okay. Now let's take a look at the 35 to 150. On the low end, I'm starting at 35 millimeters. How many millimeters am I gaining from this lens before it turns into a lens that I already have? All right, that's the question that we ask ourselves. So 35 millimeters plus 5 more is 40, plus 30 more is 35. All right, so before I run into a lens that I already have in the 7200, I'm only gaining 35 millimeters. All right, once it hits 70 millimeters on the 35 to 150, I basically already have a lens that can do exactly what that lens can do. So what is the purpose, or what am I gaining from getting the 35 to 150, and is that worth it? We're not even talking about prices, because they're pretty close in price. One is $14.99, the other one is $18.99. It is what it is. But when I look at the 35 to 150, I'm gaining 35 millimeters on the low end, because that's what it can give me that my other lens can't give me, from 35 millimeters to 70. But I'm also gaining a lens that I can take to Sony events by itself. I can shoot a whole wedding with this lens by itself, because I can still get really wide at 35 millimeters, but punch all the way in to 150 millimeters. It will also make for a great, like I said, wedding, events, even a really good studio lens. So other than it's the most versatile lens out of all of them. Okay. But is it worth spending $1,800 on a lens that I'm only really gaining 35 millimeters because I already have a 70 to 200? So that's the kind of questions you kind of have to ask yourself when you're comparing and contrasting. You know, should you get this lens? Should you not get this lens? Now, if you don't have a 70 to 200, I would wholeheartedly just say go with the Tamron. Absolutely. But that's what makes this kind of confusing, and that's what makes it kind of a hard decision on which lenses that you should get. And that's what I wanted to kind of pick your brains about and kind of shed some light on here and some things you should be thinking about. Because there's another option. I could just sell my 70 to 200, which was, $3,000, and take that money and just buy the Tamron or something like that. And then I'll just have one lens. But I would not do that because I know how sharp and how amazing this lens is, especially when zoomed in 150 to 200 and 200 millimeters. I think that's the biggest things with these. So I'm kind of at a crossroads, because it's like, if I get the 35 to 150, this is really gonna sit on my shelf because I know I'm gonna just use that lens. And here's the thing, I'm not going to take a 35 to 150 to a wedding and a 70 to 200 just to have that 35 millimeters. If anything, I'm just going to basically use like a 50 or a 35 millimeter 1.2 or a prime or something like that, and then have the 70 to 200 as my second camera. But I think for the most part, a lot of people try to avoid carrying more than one lens now for a wedding, which is probably never going to happen. We're always going to have more than one lenses. But the majority of your shooting, if you had a 35 to 150, that's pretty much all you would need, is that 35 to 150 if you're doing an event or a wedding. So I kind of already ruled out the 28 to 105 because I just don't think I need that. But I would love to have the 35 to 150. But it'll be just that lens. I would be getting it just for the fact of it will probably be my go-to. And here's the thing. A lot of people say, well, I get it for weddings. It'll be my go-to wedding lens. But honestly, in a wedding, I would rather have my 70 to 200 G Master Mark II, because that lens is absolutely insane. It's so sharp, and the bokeh is crazy punched in. So that's another thing. I would rather take my 70 to 200 to weddings. I mean, all my weddings, I love taking my 70 to 200 and then just taking a prime on the low end, like a 35, when I want to get some crazy wide angle shots. So then I have to ask myself, well, where does the 35 to 150 even fit in then? It would be that go-to studio lens. It would be that go-to like travel lens when I want to travel, or Sony events and things like that. That's where I think it would shine at. But is it worth spending $1,800 just to have it either in studio or to travel with me? Because other than being in a studio or other than traveling with it, it won't be my go-to, or doing events. It wouldn't be my go-to wedding lens, because I have a 70 to 200, and it wouldn't be a go-to portrait lens because I have primes and other lenses for that. So moral of the story is, I like for you guys to kind of look at that angle of it also, because I don't think a lot of people talk about that, especially if you're a portrait photographer. A lot of times out of 10, I'm not gonna say 9 times out of 10 because that's bad. It's bad odds, but a lot of the time, most of us already have a 70 to 200. Now, if you just got the money and you just want to get them, then get them. You know what I'm saying? But you guys let me know down in the comments, what do you think would be more beneficial? Selling the 7200, getting the 35 to 150, getting the 28 to 105. But you guys let me know down in the comments. I've kind of laid it all out there for you guys so you can make the best decision for yourself. But it's just another area of these two lenses that I wanted people to take a look at, because I don't think it was talked about a lot when I was looking at reviews and things on these lenses. So I'm talking to you from a professional photographer's standpoint of view, and giving you another angle to look at owning either one or two of these lenses. All right, so take a look at that, man, and I appreciate you guys. It is your boy and brother, aka the Kevin Hart Photography, and I will see you in the next video. Holla, peace.